My name is Russell Collins. What do I do? I'm retired as a financial advisor in 2010 after 40 years, and I've remained in the industry since then, more in mentoring and coaching and speaking at conferences and running one-day workshops, giving my knowledge back to the industry.
So when you say you've been in the industry around 40 years, what was the day you started or the year you started?
Yeah, I can tell you. I started on the 1st of February 1971, and I left school in December of 1955, just prior to my 14th birthday. Started work in the public service on 1st of February 1956. My father was when I say a victim, a child of the Great Depression. So he always said that his boys would find a job like the public service or the bank, so when the next Great Depression came, they wouldn't be out of work like he was. He left school in 1928, didn't work for 4 years. So I joined the public service because I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't that keen on study at school. And then I spent 11 of the next 15 years studying, trying to build a career in the public service, which included 5 years at night school. And then after 15 years, I realised that I was a square peg in a round hole, and then I moved into insurance. The guy that had sold me insurance was a friend, a neighbour of mine, and he convinced me to come in, and the rest is history. Yeah, been a most fantastic career, still is, a great. I can't think of a better occupation in the financial services industry than that of an advisor. Every day you leave home, every day I left home, I had the opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. I mean, I think there's a lot of people that see this as a job. I saw it as a vocation, not when I first started. When I first started, my early years, I had a mortgage, my wife was a homemaker, and we had 4 children under 5.5. And so you're running at 100 miles an hour, working. When I first started, I was told I'd work about 12 hours a week, 20 hours a week. I ended up working 70 and 80 hours a week. I was working in the public service, so I've earned more money probably with overtime. But what I realised is that life insurance is something that everybody needs. Once I grasped that, the fantastic product, once I understood that, then it became easier after that. And I just loved the opportunity to meet with people, to find out how they could use my services. And then once we did that, build a relationship, become a client, get referrals, and move on that way. And that's why I'm training people to do that now. Like, we might be in the financial services industry, but we're in the people business. And I think that the new people coming in, they don't get it. They see it as a job rather than as a vocation, whereas I think it's just more than that.
You mentioned the people business. Is that the bit that you most enjoy, and is that why you've continued to stay on in financial services and risk, because of the people that you deal with every day?
Well, it's not so much when I say the people business, it's understanding that if you can make a difference in their lives, how can you do that? So meeting people was what I liked. I mean, I enjoy that. But preparing beforehand, thinking about who I'm going to meet, what are the questions I could ask, and most people don't prepare these days. So when you've done the preparation and then you sit with somebody and you start asking the questions, and they keep responding, telling you, the answers they're giving you are telling me about problems that they're not even aware exist. And so that's great when you can take that feedback from them. And the main purpose, and again, just a criticism of the new advisors, the number one function of the fact-finding meeting is to build a relationship. Secondarily, it's to get information. Because people buy your advice first and your product last, and there's daylight in between. So what I'm saying is that it's the people business, it's the communication skills. It's asking penetrating questions. Penetrating questions where the person has to think before they answer. Write it down, record it. And I'll just make this point, you can edit it out if you want to. But after 20 years, I was sitting with this gentleman. He was a general manager of a mid-sized public company. And halfway through the meeting, he said, "Do you do this with everybody?" I said, "What?" He said, "Well, ask questions and write down the answers." And I said, "Yeah." He said, do you realise that's the greatest compliment you can pay anybody? To ask them a question and then write it down. And I'd been doing that for 20 years. So another thing you learn about the importance of communication, relationships.
Let's take a step back from your work in the industry. When you're not actually involved, and you are heavily involved, I know that you mentor other people in the industry, what do you do with your spare time, with your downtime?
Well, that's a good question. If my wife is viewing this, I'd say hopefully I'm spending more time with her. She understands that my passion, what this is. But we also have children, grandchildren, 11 grandchildren, and so the opportunity to spend time with them. I don't, you know, I exercise, I play golf badly. My handicap hasn't changed in about 30 years, but you know, I enjoy that, but I don't have anything. My driving force is my relationship with God, my family, God come first, and then everything else is built around that.
I know you spent some time mentoring younger advisors in the industry. If you had to give a single, succinct, one-line message to them, what would it be?
Well, Matthew, when Matthew was joining me in 1998, he said, Dad, before I step in the door on the first day, what's the one thing that I need to know that I don't want to find out about later and you didn't tell me? And I said, that's easy. I said, this business is a lifetime of education. Frank Sullivan, who I mentioned before, he said we are more educators than we are advisors, and the education starts with our self-education. And so my advice would be, I'm not talking about the academic side of it, they've got to do that in order to qualify for whatever. I'm talking about investing in their business, and the best investment they can make is in their self-education.
Excellent. Thank you, Russell, for your time.
Okay.